Welcome back to Be the Frequency, where I teach you how to be the frequency of future you, the person that you want to be, with different interviews from guests or solo episodes like this one. And I cannot wait to dive into this one. If you are a business owner or you're thinking about developing a business or you have kind of a side hustle or something like that, this is one of the, if I had a dollar for every single time somebody said something to the effect of like niching down, guys, I'd be a millionaire several times over. You hear it so much in the digital online marketing space about niching down to talking to one person, blah, blah, blah. And so many people are at odds with it. I think when you have a little bit of a personal brand that, and it's a lot of you showing up, right? It's not just a product that you're the founder or the CEO of, but what you're selling is your service. You're selling your vibe, you're selling your past, your information, the knowledge that you have. You're selling so much more of who you are and how you make people feel, and not just a product that is solving a problem, which I think these are really important. But this particular episode is going to be for those people who are showing up as themselves for their brand, for whatever they're trying to build. And this could be a lot of things. You could want to be an influencer. You can, and that's maybe your goal. Maybe you're doing TikTok shop affiliate things. Maybe you have your own products or services or digital products and services. But this is for somebody who they are the face, okay? And they are really struggling with niching down because maybe there's more than one thing that they want to offer. I do this and I do it fairly well. So I've seen a couple other people do it. We've had conversations about it. So I thought I would bring to you the 3 things that if you struggle to niche down, this is how to niche without niching, okay? Because this is what I noticed is as an entrepreneur, I am not just this person who sells this thing, right? And what I sell is an extension of me. It's my knowledge. It's to work with me. It's to go on retreats with me and things like that. It's wanting to be in my sphere, in my circle at some capacity. And in understanding that, if I recognize that I have multiple interests, my people also are people. Imagine that. And they have multiple interests. And so the way that I started to look at marketing and selling and business building without doing this thing where you have one product, one service, that's all you do. And I get some people do it and they have great success with it. It just didn't work for me. It made it not enjoyable because I felt like I could only talk about so much. And I am the same with every single person, whether you're on YouTube or maybe you're listening on Spotify or something like that. And I talk pretty much the same if we talk in person. I'm the same person. It's interesting when people talk about when they feel like they have to really mask in some environments and stuff like that. Not to say that we all kind of adapt to certain environments, but I'm pretty much the same person. I'm not overly extroverted and I'm not overly introverted. I can strike up a conversation, I can lead a room, and I can also sit and be quiet and listen. And those things play out all the time in all of my relationships in my business. I swear a little. I like to travel. I'm going to talk about food. I love to try new things. I always want to try like a new restaurant. Like, what did somebody recommend? I want to go there. So I'm that way all the time. And so to feel like I have to take part of who I am and hide it, it felt like so much work. It felt like I had to do so much more work to create content and to share and to just sell and things like that because it was like it felt so forced. And I was like, okay, this doesn't feel good. What are some other ways that I can do this? And I recognized the first thing was that who I was speaking to, I had a core person. And so, as much as they're like, speak to one person, one problem, I recognized who I was speaking to was a woman. Most of my clients are women. I have very, very few men. They are between the ages of 25 and 55, 60. I don't have a ton of young clients. because most of the time those clients are not aware of their emotional patterns yet. That comes with a little bit more maturity and a little bit more life experience. And I don't deal with people that are quite a bit older because not for any particular reason. I just, that's, they have the life experience and stuff like that. But a lot of times at that point, people are not often seeking out change. Not to say, again, it's not a blanket statement. It's just kind of patterns that I've noticed or patterns that I've seen in my practice. So who I'm speaking to, that already narrows it down. It's like a 25-year, 30-year like gap, a woman. And typically I'm speaking to somebody who has already kind of been curious about why they do what they do. So they are already doing or interested in some kind of healing work. So again, that very much narrows it down. And I'm not the person for you. I'm not the therapist that want to have I don't want to see you for 10 years, right? The therapist that has the same people for years and years and years, and they're not coming for like different problems and taking a breaks and coming back and being like, hey, this is showing up for me. Can I get back on your books? I don't want to see you for 10 years straight. That means I'm not doing my job. I recognize I'm the person that people come to when they want change because I'm very direct. It's part of who I am. Again, that's part of who I am all the time. I'm a very direct communicator. And so if you want somebody who's, I always joke, do you want, this is, I say this, I laugh because my husband had to really learn this about me. I am somebody who's going to give you a solution. I'm not going to give you a shoulder. That's not my go-to. So when he and I are talking and he's telling me about something, I sometimes have to pull back and be like, do you want a shoulder or do you want a solution? And 9 times out of 10, he just wants a shoulder. Great. And he'll come to me when he does want a solution, which I love and appreciate that we have that in our relationship. But I recognize the clients that I'm wanting to work with because I am not the shoulder person. I am the let's take action person. There are several times when I've turned people away because I recognize they don't want to actually take action. And so that also narrows it down. These are the people that are quick to implement, they're quick to take action, they're asking questions, they're self-initiators. That narrows down actually a lot of people. So when I'm talking to somebody, usually my person has like so many options that they're thinking about, they just don't know which one to go for, and they need to develop trust in themselves. They'll take the action, but they feel maybe overwhelmed by options. Okay. If I do it like this could work, or I do it like this could also work. And they're needing just a little bit more guidance, somebody to kind of soundboard. Or they've never done something before and they're like, hey, can you help me see basically the forest through the trees? I'm wanting to do this, but I'm not quite sure where to go. I'm like, yes, here are a couple of different ways you could do it. Which feels better to you? I am a solution person. So that to me, when I talk about talking to a core person, that is my core person. It is a woman between 25 and 60. She's typically some kind of in the health or healing world, looking into it, curious about why she does what she does. Now that kind of brings me to the second thing. Okay. And this person is a take action kind of person. If I give them homework, typically they are doing it, maybe not 100% all the time, but they are trying, they are actively trying to implement what I'm giving them, whether they're coming to me for healing work or they're coming to me for business development. So write that down or put that in your notes somewhere. Save this episode, whatever you got to do. The first thing you're doing is identifying a core person and just think about it more. It's not so broad that it's like a woman. Okay. But I also like when I'm talking about business stuff, and this kind of brings us to our second, is that who is it for each thing that you're selling? So if this core person, think about your core person could basically almost fit into all of your buckets, right? And this will really help you is that you're not niching down in the fact that you only have one product and that's all you're selling and you're only talking to one person. Again, to me, that gets repetitive and I don't get to share the way that I want to. It doesn't feel authentic to me. I don't like it. And to each their own. That works for some people. That is not how I want to run my business. My business is an extension of me. It is my creation. Some people don't feel that way. You know, especially as they get really far removed from the product or the service, or maybe they're hired in. I am the founder. All of the concepts, the quiz, the energetics of entrepreneurship, I don't see anybody in the business space ever for years, understanding how the energetic body in a very specific way is relating to business. They might talk about how, you know, that you need to have systems, and they might kind of talk about that it feels safe in the nervous system. They don't understand that systems are part of the root chakra. So when somebody comes to me and they have a root chakra issue, I'm like, tell me about how it's hard for you. You have really inconsistent income months. And they're like, oh my God, I do. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I know. Okay. I don't see anybody doing that. And so I'm like, a lot of what I'm sharing is, and a lot of what I'm doing, it comes from me. It comes from how I create. And I think a lot of people, we're in this kind of transitioning into this like creator age. We see it all the time. Like there's so much more content, there's so much more creating out there. And I love that because it really allows people to, you know, create from their heart and create something that if they feel inspired to. The downfall is when you get into like trying to do things exactly like somebody else and then it's no longer your creation. You can remix. Copying is not creating, that's different. Remixing, everybody is inspired by something. And I'm not the first person to fucking talk about business. I'm not the first person to talk about energy centers or healing work or anything like that. But I am one of the first people to make a lot of these correlations. I've literally seen not one person. That's my creation, is how everything works together. So my overall person could fit into several of my buckets. They could come to me for healing work, and maybe we are doing some spinal energetics combined with some homeopathy and things like that, working on their physical, emotional, and mental bodies. And then they could also possibly be in one of my business things, right? They could fit into all of the buckets. So think about that. Your core person, your first thing, your core person could fit into almost all of your buckets. So then the second thing is that who you're talking to for each one is going to be different. It's overarching the same person, but when I'm talking about business, I am talking specifically to women entrepreneurs in that age group that are wanting a business that's sustainable. This sense of business is creating for them. They are passionate about what they're doing. This business that they're working on is more than just punching a time clock. I even have a 8-week entrepreneurship course group program. It's a kind of a combo. You get all of the energetics of entrepreneurship, and it's called The Path. And you get weekly calls, so group calls where we talk about some of these things. You get the understanding and healing work of the energetics of entrepreneurship. You also get group stuff where we come in and we kind of talk live. It's a little bit more mastermind style. We have topics that we talk about what have worked for other people, ideas that we're excited about, how to grow these in all these different ways. And then you also get healing work. So once a month we meet together to do a virtual group spinal. The person who is really only interested in the strategy, who's very much like not into any spiritual stuff, like I'm not their person. That's the thing is I am talking then to a very specific business person. I'm typically talking to massage therapists. I'm talking to holistic practitioners. I'm talking to Reiki practitioners. I'm talking to health coaches. And anybody in that kind of world, massage therapists, like I'm talking to people who often are working in the healing and health field. I've worked with nurses, I've worked with all sorts of different people, but they're all kind of have that realm where they're trying to help people. Now, that's not everybody's ideal client. But again, that same person who is coming to me for business is also interested in healing, so they could also fit in some of these other things. I've done a weight loss and wellness program. I've done some of these other things when I'm in my private practice outside of mentoring business and entrepreneurship. My health people might not fit in my entrepreneurship thing, and maybe my entrepreneurship might not fit in the weight loss and wellness specific, but they're interested in kind of both. And a lot of times, even the people who are interested in health and healing and stuff like that, they may not want to make their hobbies into a business, but they might want to, again, they're like, I want to get on like social media and I want to like just share and I want it to be more like a vlog type thing. I want it to be a creative outlet. So sometimes they join that, not because they need to learn like email marketing or anything like that, but they're wanting to connect with community. And I'm like, great, come over here. Like there's a couple of different things for you. I have soulful selling. I have all sorts of different things where if you kind of, depending on where you're at in your journey, you could fit into those. So it's like the first thing is the overarching, where they could fit into all of your buckets. And then once you go into these different things that you're selling, because you're multi-passionate, then you're talking to the specific person within that larger bucket. So think of it like kind of like a tree, right? There's this big group, and then it kind of gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So then once they're into kind of one of these buckets, then think about it that you're getting more specific and differentiating it by using different colors, different branding, different verbiage. Again, for an example, my Energetics of Entrepreneurship is a DIY healing course that is for the person who wants to heal themselves and heal their business. It's understanding how your energetic body is a direct reflection in your business. So, this person, when they come over here, it's a lot more colorful than I normally do. My branding is a lot of like earth tones, a lot of greenery, I love a good terracotta color. Like Sedona is my color palette. Red rocks, green trees, a little bit of jungle if I'm down for that. That's why I got to throw a tropical retreat in there, stuff like that. But for the most part, that kind of color palette is mine, and that's what I wear too. Like I don't have to. Again, I don't have to fake any of this. This is who I am. But when I look at the energetics of entrepreneurship, when you talk about energy centers, they're often associated with colors of the rainbow. So it's a little bit more colorful. The fonts are a little bit more playful. I wanted it to have a different vibe than all of my other stuff. And now it still has some of my colors. So my darker green is in there, kind of more peachy tones are in there, but it has some pinks. It has a little bit of purples. It has a little bit of blues. Like there's some other colors in there to make it stand out from some of the others. Now, that one's a DIY. Now, The Path, which is my group program for entrepreneurs, that one is a lot more, oh gosh, it's kind of more, a little bit more neutrals. And I did this on purpose because the whole point is that I'm wanting you to understand that when you follow somebody else's strategy, it puts you into a box. So the way that people come into me and kind of come into my business world is taking the which chakra is my superpower in business quiz. They find out which chakra is their superpower, their leader. And then that funnels them into, hey, this is some of the things that you can work on for your energy centers to help balance some of these things if you want to work on your own. If you want a little bit more, one, guidance or honestly more community, you're going to want to join The Path. Now, The Path, because of the marketing being like, don't let other people's strategies put you in a box. I love that a box is more neutral. Those are some of the tones that I chose for it. It has a little bit of an elevated feel, but still very nature-y. And so all of these have these different vibes to them. My master manifester, when you think about manifesting, you think about more stuff. There's a lot more golds and bronze and things like that. Still in my wheelhouse, but different pictures, different fonts. It has its own vibe, right? And so when you're thinking about, okay, I need to talk to one person, if that's not who you are, it's okay. But this is a way to use these three principles, right? You have your overarching person. And then within that, right, you get a little smaller. Is this person, again, I'll use myself as an example. Are they going to do more like healing work? Are we doing more health stuff? Are we doing more healing and business stuff? Right. And then from there, each of the programs actually have a different vibe itself. So people are attracted to different colors. They have different feels. And so understanding a little bit more of even color theory and color psychology, you might choose different things to attract a different kind of person. So every single container has a little bit different energy, has a little bit different vibe. So it's like what you're creating has a little bit different vibe. The person that it's for is a little bit different and they're more of a match, but you have this overarching as well. When you use those three principles, you start to, again, always speak to the same person, but you speak to them at different points in their life or in their journey. And you mirror that with your marketing, with your messaging, things like that. The people that are in my world are interested in energy healing. They're interested in yoga. They're interested in acupuncture, acupressure. They're interested in herbs. They've got plants in their house. They've got probably a crystal bracelet on. We're talking about sacred geometry. We're talking about sacred geometry. Okay. We're talking about these things, but they might not be ready to start their business for another 2 years. but they're doing the healing work to prep themselves for it. Or they might have started because they think they need business stuff. What they really need is their nervous system is severely dysregulated, their body is full of toxins, and they maybe actually need to work on their physical, emotional, and mental body first to be able to change their relationship to their business so their business can thrive. Okay. Do you see how that all kind of works together? So take those three, the big bucket of your general, then specifically what different offers within their journey are they in, and then marry that with some of the specific brandings, fonts, feels that you want. So these become a match, right? They get a little bit more specific because even within business, I have, again, energetics of entrepreneurship. We have the path. I also have sacred selling codes, which is if you want to specifically work on selling, storytelling, being able to get on discovery calls and close deals, understanding a little bit more of the sales psychology and why people buy, when they buy, the types of buyers. That has a lot more of that. So there's some specific in there. That one has a lot of greenery focused. Selling, money, green, okay? So within those you might have little separate, not every entrepreneur wants to learn about selling. Some of them are great at closing deals. They might actually really suck though at finding leads. So once they get somebody in there, they can sell them no problem, but they don't know how to get them into the business. So we would actually work on a different part of their content, a different part of maybe what's going on in their emotional body. Do they not feel safe to be seen? And once they kind of get in that one-on-one, that intimacy feels safer for them, but the group exposure feels very unsafe. This is why we have to look at more than one thing. So for my business people, notice your three different parts of how to niche without niching, write them down and get really specific so that no matter the content that you're creating, you're always going to attract, and again, this might change. Think about it, then that also changes the type of content. If you're doing a lot of attraction content constantly, this is a lot of like memes, things that are trending sounds or trends in general, stuff like that, where it's bringing people in, right? Then the next level is like nurturing, getting to know them, talking to their specific thing. And then the last thing is selling. Hey, this is some of these specifics if this is for this person. Your content mirrors basically these same buckets, but if you don't understand that about how that relates to one another, then you're often trying to speak again to too many people without understanding I need to be talking to the same person at just different parts of the journey. Okay. So go ahead and save this episode, do your homework, and let me know how it goes. If you're having a hard time understanding different parts of this three bucket niching but not niching system, the path might be a really great place for you to start or for you to join. But a great place for you to actually start is finding out which chakra is your superpower in business, especially because we've related this to a lot of business, but this applies to, and this episode specifically is for business people. But if at any point you are like, hey, I really would love to work with you on health stuff, that's always available too. It's down in my show notes. You can check it out, or you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Dr. Shalane Carter. Please make sure you subscribe so you can get all of the episodes as soon as they drop every single Tuesday. And until next time, you guys, mwah, cheers.